Does Dak deserve to be the highest paid player in the league? And I'm going to say yes to that. And it's not a talent-based conversation for me. You have to respect what the CBA is going to do to what the revenue is going to be for the players, what the income is going to look like for the players. And that injection, along with what Dak has been able to do in comp compared to the other top 5 players in the NFL in terms of salary, he deserves to be the highest paid. We know Russell Wilson is number 1, but then if you talk about a Jared Goff, a Carson Wentz, even a beat-up Ben Roethlisberger at age 34, you start to realize that Dak Prescott is a guy that fits in that neighborhood in terms of accomplishments, in terms of whatever you want to say about his win percentage, second highest of all quarterbacks since he's been active in the league. And more importantly, the guy is the leader of this team. He has been the constant, and he is a consummate professional. So you have to factor in all those things in terms of just the talent conversation. But for me, yes, Dak should be the highest paid in the league.
I say yes as well. And for a tad bit of a different reason, if you look at the value of what you represent to the team, the report says the Cowboys offered a contract that is the highest, would make him the highest paid.
Right.
So if they're offering him that, that means that that's the value that he holds to that organization. Mm-hmm. Whether Dak feels as though that number is high enough or not, that's to be determined. But the pure fact that the team has offered the amount that would say he is the highest paid quarterback makes it simple and plain to me. That is his value, and that's what he would deserve.
I think he deserves to be the highest paid simply because he's the next in line. Forget about what he's done, what he hasn't done. I don't care what he's done, what he hasn't done. I think when you negotiate and you're in that position as a player, now I was never in that position, but you may have been in that position, it is incumbent upon you. It's your responsibility to set the new bar for the guys who are coming up after you. And those guys that are in that position take it very seriously. Mm-hmm. I want to be the highest paid. It's not an egotistical thing in my mind. It's I want to set the bar for the next guys coming up to leap over that bar. And if I'm Dak Prescott, why in the heck would I take less than Carson Wentz from a guaranteed standpoint or Jared Goff from a guaranteed standpoint? No,
Preach. Absolutely not.
But the other thing that really irritates me, though, more than anything else is I guarantee you Dak Prescott and his agent didn't leak this information. This is always leaked by the teams to basically say, hey, listen, look, we've given you this great offer, this monopoly money. We say that you're going to be the highest paid guy at your position, but you don't trump people from a guaranteed standpoint. That's wrong. It's not. And it pits you as a player against your own fan base. Look at how selfish Dak Prescott is. He should take less. Baloney. He should be the highest paid guy because he's the next in line. That's it.
You deserve whatever they're willing to give you. And he's earned his payday. Now, the highest paid player in the league, no. And y'all all know that. The highest paid player in the league, that's not him. I like Dak Prescott as a quarterback, but is he better than Russell Wilson? No. Is he better than Aaron Rodgers? No. Is he better than Ben Roethlisberger at this age, at this stage of Ben's career? No. Now, he's on par with Carson Wentz and Jared Goff, and I'll actually take him over them just because of his accomplishments. Now, this thing of, now, it is egotistical when we say we want to be the highest paid. I mean, we ain't worried about the guy behind me. I'm worried about what I'm going to get. And so Dak Prescott is like, what can I get? He's worth whatever the Cowboys are willing to give him. And it's not what we think it is, because if it was, we'd already have a deal. If it was what is being reported, right, we would already have a deal. And so he deserves it because the Cowboys are giving it to him. But does he deserve, from a talent perspective, to leapfrog all those guys? No.
But it's never been a talent conversation, and I think the fans get seduced into that. I think sometimes players get seduced in thinking, oh, you got to be better than the other guy, or why do you get more money than him? I got paid more, and I always tell you the story, than Bruce Smith and Junior Seau, and I knew I wasn't better, and they knew I wasn't better, and they both congratulated me because they said, because you're young, because you have upside, because you're next man up, you deserve to move that bar up. So the responsibility is not just on, are you better than those who are making that amount? It's the responsibility of saying, I'm good enough, but I have something to show you in the future, or at least in projection, and that's what Dak Prescott showed.
You know what happens is, the reason what you said, Mark, is true is teams like to compare you to other players. I remember when my contract was coming up, the Bengals were comparing me to Hines Ward.
They always do.
Oh, yeah.
He signed a pretty good deal. All of a sudden, I wasn't compared to Hines Ward no more. Then they tried to compare me to Monty Toomer. He signed a pretty good deal. Oh, I wasn't compared to him no more. Then I was compared to Brandon Stokely because it fit the narrative of what they wanted to do.
Right.
And so from that perspective, the guys that are being compared to Dak is like, Dak, hit him on the head because they're comparing me to you. And now, when I come up, now, am I still Dak Prescott?
Another reason to throw in there, and it's kind of a shallow reason, but yet I think it's still relevant, is how much is being discussed. Just the amount of discussion around Dak Prescott and what's going to happen and what are you going to do, to me, is reason enough to sit there and say he's worth his weight in gold just based off of that. Now, people may think that that's silly, but if you really think about the importance of what the quarterback represents for one of the most storied and recognizable brands in all of sport, for him to be at the pinnacle, the precipice of every single conversation as it applies to right now in the offseason, that says the value of who Dak Prescott represents to this team all by itself.
Hey, listen, you're not going to get any argument from me. He deserves whatever he can get, whatever the market bears, and if that means being the highest paid player, good for him. I mean, listen, your contract came up at the right point. You were healthy, and you're good to go. So
if we're running the Cowboys, if you three are running the Cowboys,
absolutely
you make
not.
Dak Prescott the highest paid player in the league?
Absolutely, I do, because of what he's accomplished so far, which is gets him in the conversation, not at the top.
You, Steven and Jerry Jones,
yes.
You say, okay, let's give him this.
Yes,
You?
because
No.
of the league.
Oh, okay.
Yes, you do.
Okay.
No, I don't. Listen, if I'm running the organization,
Right.
well, I want to save as much money as possible.
Well,
I
you
don't
would
wanna get-
if you offer him $33 million in September before a career year, guess what you're going to do after that career season?
Because they knew the total value of that wasn't really 33 because you tie in his base salary for 2019. Now, are you making him the highest paid player?
I would pay him the money now, but as an owner, right? As an owner, I would be paying him that money knowing that I want to try to get that deal done before 2021, before the new CBA
money.
takes place. Because if you got to pay on the other side of that CBA, that number, and again, I think that that's where the tug of war is taking place. He wants the other side of the CBA deal contract, whereas if I'm offering you the highest paid quarterback money right now, right? That's going to change.
Yeah.
That's going to change. So
And that-
I would try to get it done right now.
that deal is going to have fuel injection because of his birth certificate. He's blessed to have that birth certificate.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. And be sure to check out more of the best clips from Speak For Yourself, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.